Hey, what's up guys, I'm back in the video, and today I'm going to be talking about the one move or what the Oklahoma City need to do in order to become legit finals contenders, because obviously, like, this year they were expected to be better than they were last year, expected to make a semi-deep playoff run, but no one really expected them to make the NBA Finals, and no one really respected them as legit finals contenders, even before that they found out that Carmelo Anthony was just a trash version of Kyle Korver. You know what I mean? Like, all he can do is shoot, and he can't even shoot that good because he's on such a downward spiral. So I'm going to be getting into 3 reasons pretty much why what moves they need to do in order to become finals contenders and actually be respected to be able to beat teams like Golden State Warriors and Houston Rockets in the playoffs. So without further ado, without running on too much, let's get right into the video. The first thing I think they're going to have to do is re-sign Paul George. And this is what I think is one of the biggest things that they have to do this offseason is re-sign him. Because, I mean, he kind of fits perfectly with Russell Westbrook. As, like, he's still an all-star level player that they need. But he's not only the same level as Westbrook, which will give Westbrook the freedom to be as good as he wants. Pretty much, it's still his team completely. He knows it's still his team. He won't have to share the ball as much. He just kind of, like, he gets to do what he does. Like, be the MVP caliber player he is. And then let Paul George do what he does, which is be that like second option on the team, be able to still score about 20 points a game, rebound, play defense, really just play his role a lot better. Since he's not the best player on the team, Paul George plays much better at that secondary role. And then obviously if he does get re-signed, that will add even more depth to the team, which they desperately need. They desperately need to have depth on that team. But it goes the other way. If they aren't able to re-sign him, which a lot of people don't think they are going to be able to, that's going to make them have even less depth, which is something they already greatly lack. Their bench is awful, so I mean, if they can't re-sign Paul George, that is now going to leave them with the big 2, or should I say the big 1 of Westbrook, and then a washed-up Carmelo Anthony, which is nowhere near as good as they would be if the big 2 was Westbrook and Paul George. So yeah, and then my second reason is kind of the reason I wasn't saying big 3, is because my second reason is going to see if they can somehow possibly find someone that will trade for Carmelo Anthony. I mean, this dude is coming off of his worst season by far. The dude is turning 34, has a huge ego. He doesn't want to come off the bench. He's already refused and said he will not come off the bench. And I mean, to go along with that, the dude has a $26 million player option. So I mean, if they can somehow find a team that is willing to trade for this dude, they should pull the trigger immediately. I mean, all this dude added to the team this year, besides like the 16 points per game, was taking up valuable cap space and being an absolute cancer. I mean, for him not to want to come off the bench when their bench is awful and he would play better off the bench, that is a huge self-centered thing and not a championship attitude. So if they're either able to somehow get a late second round pick out of somebody, I'd pull the trigger on that. And if the team is retarded enough to give you some, like, a decent role player to come off the bench, I would definitely pull the trigger on that, as that would then add even more depth to your team, in which you desperately need. I think that what they really need to do, like with the reason I said so far, is re-sign Paul George, and instead of trying to add another superstar with that lineup, since Westbrook has already shown that he does not play great with other superstars, he needs to be him. He needs to be the superstar, and then it needs to be like an all-star level player, which is Paul George. They just have to have a big 2, and then have a very, very decent team around him. If they're able to build a team, like mold a team that has a great bench and a decent level of like players, I think they definitely have a chance, especially because even their starting lineup without Carmelo isn't bad. I mean, look at it. When Andre Roberson's healthy, this is their starting lineup: Westbrook, Paul George, Andre Roberson, Steven Adams, and whoever would take Carmelo's spot if they somehow can able to get rid of him. I mean, right now I'm sure they're hoping he doesn't pick up his player option, which he will because he wants the money. But I mean, right now I'm sure Oklahoma is begging him not to pick up that player option that he has. So yeah. Then my third reason, kind of segueing into the depth thing, is they need to build their bench. This is probably the second biggest thing alongside the Paul George thing, maybe tied with the Paul George thing. Very, very close second, if second at all. I mean, with how good Westbrook and Paul George are, along with Steven Adams and Andre Roberson, who are great defensive players, those 4 people have the potential to be one of the better starting lineups in the league. I mean, they can carry the starters no matter who that like 5th dude in the starting lineup is going to be. But on the other hand, they obviously can't carry their bench because, well, they're not off the bench. Their bench is awful, probably the worst in the entire league. They have an awful bench. I mean, the only thing that they really got going for them is that Jerry and Grant played decently off the bench this year, and they have That will give them a good 6-man, and with Oberson coming back, that will then move Corey Brewer to the bench, so they now at least have a solid 7-man rotation, but you need at least 9 solid players. So if you can somehow like get 2 players in free agency with money, that's why you need to hope that you can trade Carmelo to get that huge cap space off of you. So it's either somehow get a team as brain dead as Sacramento. They're probably your only hope. Get Sacramento to trade like a decent player for Carmelo Anthony. Then you put him on your bench, boom, you have 8, and then pick up a decent person in free agency, or you have to pick 2 meh players in free agency up, and then that is your bench. If they're able to get a 9-man rotation, this team is going to be extremely scary, because I mean, we've seen Russell Westbrook plays better with a small forward and then just himself with a decent team around him than he does with 3 megastars. I mean, unless those 3 megastars are James Harden, him, and Durant. I mean, that is ungodly. That's the reason they made the finals. But in recent history, we've seen that he plays better with just a small forward and just a point guard. Even this year, when Carmelo Anthony missed a game, he missed 4 games this year, Carmelo Anthony did. Guess how many of those they won? They went 3-1 in those games. So he plays much better with just Paul George on the court. So if they're able to get a decent team around him and build that bench up, which they desperately need, not even Toronto Raptors status. It doesn't even have to be like that. It just has to be a decent bench. And if they're able to get that decent bench locked up, well, then I definitely think they have a chance to be finals contenders. So unfortunately, guys, that's going to be it for this video. So comment below. Do you think there's any other reasons that they need to become? Do you think they need to trade Carmelo? Do you think I was wrong in any reasons? I really want to hear your thoughts below. If you have any video ideas you want to see from me, comment those below as well. I really want to hear your video ideas. I'll be quick to make those because it's kind of getting hard to make up videos, but I mean, I'm having fun with it. Thank y'all so much for you can give me this page. I'm at 157 subscribers, 3 away from 160 subscribers. What the shit? That's a lot of people. Thank y'all so much for that. And anyway, I hope you have a blessed day. Hope everyone has a blessed day. I mean, thank y'all so much. I can only really owe it up to y'all and God. Thank y'all so much. Have a blessed day. See y'all in tomorrow's video. Goodbye.